Okay. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is May the 8th, 2019, and the time I show is 10:02 a.m. With those commissioners who are in attendance, please identify themselves and state as to whether they are here in person or on the phone.
This is Joe Pennington. I'm participating by telephone.
This is Scott Peters, and I'm telephone.
Great. And I am Scott Fletcher, and I am here in person. Let's charge into item B, our license applications. B1 is the 2019 Professional MMA Contestants Renewal License Application of Mark Anthony Lopez per ARS Sections 5-227, 228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. Mr. Lopez, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am here.
Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Meneses, will you speak to Mr. Lopez's application, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lopez is an overage fighter over the age of 36, planning on fighting on, I believe, Ruff's card next weekend in Maricopa. He has submitted all of his required paperwork. If you'll notice some of the forms we did get from California, he had previously done, and they are good for 2 years. Some of those tests he got 24 months, so we do have those. All the paperwork is in order. I haven't had a chance to speak to him to get his workout regimen or training regimen, so maybe he can answer some of those questions. But let's see what he... Go ahead.
Okay. Very good. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lopez, would you tell us what your training regimen is, please?
I run every morning 2 miles, and then after that, in the evening, I go and I go to my gym and I train for about 2 to 2.5 hours, anywhere from just technique, sparring, just a mix of everything I need to learn, and that's Monday through Friday.
Okay, thank you.
What's your current weight, sir?
It is about 244.
You're going to fight at heavyweight?
Yes.
Okay.
Certainly hope so.
Yes. Make sure he's not trying to drive you.
Yeah, well, welterweight would be a bit of a cut.
Go super
He's got a weight cut to go. He's not.
So all of his paperwork is in order. I do recommend that we grant him a renewal license.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any thoughts, questions, motions?
Mr. Chairman, this is not regarding Mr. Lopez. It's regarding the way that the license applications were submitted to the Commission for review. Based on all of the redaction, I cannot review that application with any degree of certainty. So I am going to abstain from all motions for fighters today. And I asked the staff to figure out a different way to get us that information, whether that be through a secure download on the website or through a secure password protection of the license application to the commissioners, because I cannot review these applications today.
So if I can I address that?
Yeah, please, Mr. Meneses.
So, Mr. Pennington, yeah, we have to keep this information secure. The information that was redacted is personal identifying information that should not interfere with your ability to review the documents. It's socials, date of birth, that kind of information. In person, we will provide you a copy that's unredacted, but anything we send over online...
I understand, Mr. Meneses, I understand. You do not understand my concern. I want to see the whole application. Find a way to do it so that it's secure for us. That can be through a password protected. It can be through secure download on the website. I'm not impugning the staff, but I cannot tell if this is the application of Mark Anthony Lopez.
Okay, we'll look into it.
Fair enough. We will pursue that. What about mail? Can we mail him?
We can mail a packet. However, the packets typically are not prepared until 24 hours before, so there's a chance they would not make it. If you're in person at the meeting like you are, you have your packets unredacted right there.
Okay. Well, let's...
yes. There are two of the commissioners that are not in person today. There are ways to do it, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, I don't mean to belabor this. But there are ways to do it through electronic download of the application or through password protection.
Sure.
Both of those are considered secure.
Agreed.
I understand the concern about revealing personal information. I'm not opposed to that, security at all. I just think that the commissioners need to be able to see the whole application.
No doubt. I agree. Yes, Commissioner Peter.
Commissioner Peter, point, I can actually see where there's an attempt to redact, but it's actually still translucent where I can read the information underneath. Is that not the case for you, Mr. Pennington?
Quite frankly, Commissioner Peters, I don't have the time to try to go through all of that. I've got other stuff on my agenda, so I need to be able to see it.
All right, we'll pursue it going forward. I know on my electronic copy, it wasn't redacted. It was semi-redacted.
I can read. That's what
okay, very good.
I can read it, and
okay.
In a motion if we were to go.
Let's do that. Commissioner Pennington is going to sit this one out.
Okay. Well, I move that we approve.
It has nothing to do with the fighters or their application. I understand that. It's just that I can't read it.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I might move with a motion.
Mm-hmm. Please.
I move that we approve the 2019 Professional MMA Contestants Renewal License Application Lopez per ARS 5-227, 5-28, and AR19-2-C604 for a fighter over the age of 36.
Thank you. We have a motion. I second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Thank you, Commissioner. Item B2 is the 2019 Amateur MMA Contestants New License Application of Christopher Chi per ARS Sections 5-227, 228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. Mr. Chi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you for coming down. We appreciate your time. Mr. Meneses, will you speak to Mr. Chi's application, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chi is also a fighter over the age applying for a new amateur combatant's license for mixed martial arts. He is scheduled to compete on Ruff's card next weekend in Maricopa. I have not had an opportunity to ask him the questions regarding his training regiment. He had just walked in, so if we can ask him some of those questions now.
Very good. Yes, Mr. Chi, would you speak to your training regiment, please?
I train every day as hard as I can. I'm 37 years old, For me, fitness has always been something that's always in the back of my mind, and I just grew up watching my father. My father was in the Army. I grew up watching him exercise all the time, and somehow that just stuck with me. That's just the way my life is all the time. And, I get compliments from peers and family, like, why do you do it? And how do you do it? And I say, I don't know, it's just my lifestyle. That's a healthy lifestyle, That's what I appreciate. That's what I follow.
Can you be a little more specific? Like, what cardio training do you do? What sparring training? What kind of weight training?
I don't do a lot of weight training, more cardio. Yeah, a lot of cardio. Sparring, very light sparring. I don't do heavy sparring at all.
How often do you do sparring?
At least twice a week.
Twice a week?
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu or?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
How often do you train in jiu-jitsu?
Twice a week.
Yeah. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Chi?
I haven't made my recommendation yet.
Right. And I've got a couple questions and thoughts too. Mr. Chi, do you know what weight you're hoping to participate at?
145.
Okay. And what are you walking around at right now?
The last I checked, 155.
Okay. And we're talking about the Ruff card, is that right?
Yes.
On
next weekend.
Next weekend. All right. So that's a 10-pound cut. Any concerns about 10 pounds? Okay. Mr. Meneses, your thoughts?
Yeah, I do have some concerns that you only train 2 days a week in sparring and in jiu-jitsu. Somebody that is training to become a fighter and step in the cage, we're you're potentially putting your health and your safety in line. I do not feel that's sufficient amount of training. Most people that come before this commission and that compete train at least 4 to 5 days a week. I think 2 is a little light. Is there any reason why you don't train anymore?
I don't like to push my body that hard because, you know, with injuries and stuff. Because it's been over 3 years since I fought last, and I'm trying not to like let anything else get in the way of that, you know. And I'm healthy right now, like no bruises, bumps, nothing, no sprains. So I try to keep that to a minimum. But I know, I know just based off of my experience, like when it comes to the actual fight, you know, of course I'm gonna get beat up, bruised, and everything. But I know a lot of it has to do with cardio. My cardio is what's most important to me because I've lost fights because of my cardio isn't so great. So I know like that's a huge factor when it comes to fighting. So that's why I train a lot of cardio.
How often do you train in cardio?
Every day.
Do you take like run? Do you?
Yeah, I just got done running this morning, 2 miles.
So you run an average of 2 miles a day?
Anywhere from 2 miles to 6 miles a day. Yeah.
And how many days a week do you run?
Every day.
Every day. Got good cardio.
So my concern is still that your concern is about practicing too much, about getting hurt, but yet you want to step into a sport where the likelihood of getting hurt is very high, and it's a high risk.
I know the likelihood of it. I mean, like I said, I fought before.
What was your record before?
3-2.
When was your last fight?
September of 2014, I believe, 15. Or no, 16. Yeah, it's been like 3 years, nearly 3 years.
Commissioner Peters, I think you were trying to say something?
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree with Mr. Meneses. I mean, I think the issue here is that mixed martial arts is a dangerous endeavor, and it can be. So conditioning the body goes beyond just cardiovascular conditioning. That's a component of it, but we would like to see fighters have more training, in particular guys who you've had a 3-year fighting. So I think for us that raises a big concern for safety.
So, Commissioners, my recommendation would be that we do not approve Mr. Chi at this time. We ask him to come back at a future time, as well as we receive some information from his trainer as to where he is at with his training regimen and how his trainer also feels his preparedness is based on where he's at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Meneses. If we were to, I guess our options are deny or table if we're to do such a thing. If we table such, you would be able to further investigate?
Yes, sir. And if we further, we also have the option to what happened in the previous instance with the IKF is we're not denying him for a full year. He can come back in another couple months once he's increased his training regimen and he's got a trainer or coach's buy-in as well. That gives us a little more assurance that he is prepared to compete.
Right. Application remains open and we continue to pursue it.
If we deny it, he is ineligible for a year.
Right. And I don't think that is warranted at this point. Commissioner Peters, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel that tabling this would be, and sir, we want to let you know we're not denying you outright. We want you to understand our purpose. Our purpose for tabling this is really for your safety, and that's what we're here to do. And I know you may feel different, but really this sport requires an investment of time, and not just in hours, but also in overtime, multiple days per week, as Mr. Meneses stated. Most professional fighters or aspiring professional fighters who want to enter into the cage, regardless of their age, will spend a minimum of 4 days training. Sport-specific training with sparring, drilling, and things of that nature for fighting. So we'd like to see you come back and upgrade your training there if possible. And if you can do that, we'll reconsider you.
I would recommend at least 60 days. It gives him 60 days to train and grow a little more.
Fair enough. I tend to agree. Mr. Chi, we're glad you're here. We'd just like to know that next time, I assume there will be a next time, we'd like a really thorough discussion about your training and how you're going about it. But we're glad you're here. We look forward to the future.
Can we get a motion?
Yes. Is there a motion to table this particular application?
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I will move that we table the application of Christopher Shee.
Thank you.
Mr. Pennington, can you incorporate how the time frame in which we're going to establish? My recommendation is 60 days. That's July.
As part of the motion, the applicant can resubmit the application within 60 days or after 60 days.
Very good. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And then just, I think we have a meeting in mid-July, so we're still in early May, so that will take you to the July meeting if you would like. Just make sure you get in contact with us a couple weeks before.
Thanks so much.
Would I be able to get any of this, like, in writing?
Oh, yeah, I'll send you a letter. It'll be mailed out to you. We wouldn't get it today, but we'll get it out by the end of the week, and it'll get mailed to you, your address on file.
Like everything that I would need for that meeting?
Yeah, I can include that in there, sure.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. A conversation with Mr. Meneses, I think, would be helpful, too.
Okay.
Just so
You just want to hang on for a few minutes when we're done? We'll
have our ducks in a row for the next one.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Item C is our event reports, and we thankfully have a lengthy section here. The following events are approved by the Executive Director from March 14th, 2019 to May 8th, 2019. Item 1 is a request from Iron Boy Promotions for a 2019 MMA event held at the Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona on April 27th, 2019. Item 2 is a request from King of the Cage Promotions for approval of the following 2019 MMA event to be held at Blue Water Casino in Parker, Arizona on May 18th, 2019. Item 3 is a request from Ringside Promotions for approval of the following 2019 MMA event to be held at Copper Sky Recreational Center Complex Amphitheater in Maricopa, Arizona on May 18th, 2019. Item 4 is a request from Iron Boy Promotions for their 2019 MMA event held at the Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona on May 25th, 2019. Item 5 is a request from Iron Boy Promotions for their 2019 private boxing event on May 30th, 2019. 6 is a request from World Fighting Federation for a 2019 MMA event held at the Van Buren in Phoenix, Arizona on June 20th, 2019. Item 7 is a request from the Legacy Fighting Alliance for a 2019 MMA event held at Comerica Theater in Phoenix, Arizona on July 26th, 2019. Item 8 is a request from the World Fighting Federation for their 2019 MMA event held at Findlay Toyota Center in Prescott Valley, Arizona on August 9th, 2019. And item 9 is a request from Ringside Promotions for a 2019 MMA event held at Wild Horse Pass Casino in Chandler, Arizona on August 10th, 2019. Those are some good events.
Yes, sir.
Got some fun things coming up.
There's a lot.
At some new venues, or venues we haven't seen in a long time. So.
Yeah, WFF's looking at branching out to the Van Buren. They're going to see how that goes. This first show is actually going to be a charity show that they're working on, but they're looking at more future events there later. And as well as you know, this weekend we have Top Rank and Pelts Boxing down in Tucson.
Yeah, and you have the Toyota Center in Prescott, which is a great venue. So that's a great list right there. Let's forge on. D is our information reports. D1 is an updated 2019 event schedule. Mr. Meneses.
Yes, the event schedule, I don't see it in the packet. Okay. So we'll have to send that to you guys. It was recently updated beginning of May. Included these extra events that we put on here, the Findlay Center, the Van Buren, as well as Ruff is looking at doing an event down in Tucson. They're working with Casino del Sol and some other venues down there that we are looking at doing for July 4th, and they're actually looking at having a fireworks show after. So we'll keep you guys updated of that. We'll get you that event schedule out. That was something that we left off there by accident.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions about the event schedule? Okay, let's go into D2, which is the 2019 Commission meeting schedule. Mr. Meneses.
There's been no changes to that. That is still the previous one that we've previously submitted for everyone's review. That is still tentatively going on with those dates. So continue to review that. If there's any dates or you have any scheduling conflicts, please let us know so we can, well in advance, go ahead and look at moving some of that. Like we did for April, if we don't have anything on the agenda, we can definitely forego having a meeting so that we're not tying up anybody's time.
Okay, fair enough. D3, concussion protocol procurement update.
So Mr. Peters and I have been working on this. We actually have met with Banner Concussion Center. We've met with the Barrow Concussion Center, and I believe we're still looking at meeting with somebody from Mayo. In addition, our procurement department is also in the process of talking to some different providers. They've talked to C3 Logic, and they've talked to somebody that also has impact testing. We're looking at the cost of that, as well as getting iPads, what it would cost to get everybody trained, what the software would cost. And Mr. Peters, I really do appreciate you taking the time to go with me and meet with me and help me go through this process as we look at putting this into place. I think Mr. Peters sees some of the struggles that we're currently having and trying to implement this. It's not that we don't want to implement it. We think this is a great tool for fighter safety and ensuring that we are one of the premier commissions in the country for making sure we are putting these safeguards in place. However, this is not something that's just simple just to put in place. We have to continue to do our research and make sure that we're presenting the fighters with the opportunity of getting these done and where to get them done and making it accessible as well as affordable.
Fair enough. Thank you. Commissioner Peters, can you speak to this?
Yeah, I would agree. I appreciate, Mr. Meneses, your time on this. And the issues that we're gathering facts and information and trying to, the issues, like it's implementation. So the goal is to try to get something digestible that we can put forth to the fighters that we understand and they understand and to elevate. But we're making progress, and we will have a meeting scheduled. We're still not there with the Mayo Clinic, but they're certainly a group we want to hear from because they have expertise on one of the tests that we've raised in our meetings, the King EVIC test, which is a separate secondary test, another type of test that would be acceptable. So we want to hear about that, and I guess when we do, we can update the commission.
Well, I can't thank you enough for your efforts. It's critical we sort this out, take our time and do it right. And I know there's lots of moving parts to this. Who's C3 Logic?
C3 Logic is the company that the California State Athletic Commission partners with, and they have trained some of their officials. And so it's an iPad-based software that once you're trained, you can travel anywhere and use that iPad and administer the test by having them, fill out or enter the information on the iPad, and that electronically stored data gets sent and recorded for the commission. So California uses that. So we started looking at their contact and seeing what the cost is and how much it would cost to roll that out. Mm-hmm. The other thing we're waiting to do is the conference that's coming up in July. We're getting closer and closer to that while we're doing this process, and this is one of the agenda items that I've asked be addressed at the ABC conference, and it will be added to the agenda to discuss what other commissions are doing, because this is something as nationwide commission bodies we're not all the same on. We're not unified on this, so we are looking at why and what's the benefit, as well as what are the other naysayers saying about it.
Oh, that's a great idea, because that's a room full of important people that have all discussed this in one way, shape, or form. So you'll learn something no matter what.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Commissioner Pennington, thoughts?
Oh, I just want to commend Commissioner Peters and Mr. Meneses for pursuing this. I think it's very important, as everybody has said, and I'm just adding my support to the continuing on with it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That's great news. We look forward to more. Let's press on. E is our old business. Pursuant to ARS sections 5-222A4, 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C609, the new outside sanctioning body application submitted by Ms. Sandra Olding, doing business as the International Kickboxing Federation of Arizona, for 2019 outside sanctioning body license. Miss Olding, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I spoke to you earlier. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It seems like you've been here before, many times.
I've been on several emails and several calls. I have.
I appreciate your group's persistence and veracity. I know it's been a long time.
You've worked very hard.
Yeah, and I know you've spent the past month trying to shore things up. So
We did.
I'm glad you're here. Mr. Manassas, will you speak to their application, please?
Yes, sir. Miss Olding, doing business as International Kickboxing Federation. If you remember, this was tabled from the previous meeting, I believe in March. Miss Olding needed to. Only thing we asked her to do was come back with her new set of rules, which is why in your packet all you have is the updated rules. I'm happy to say that we have worked together through Miss Olding as well as through the IKF headquarters in California with Mr. Fossum, and I believe that we have submitted you the rules that are in compliance with our rules and our statutes. And they have adopted our safety settings, regulations requiring an ambulance and a doctor. They have also adopted our suspension guidelines. So I think with all the paperwork that was already previously submitted in the recommendation that they were financially fit and able to proceed, as well as the updated rules they've submitted, understanding that they are limited to kickboxing only and understanding that they are only limited to amateur fights, and they must inform the commission of any fights as well as the fighters are on that card and any subsequent medical suspensions. With all that, I do believe they are adequately able to continue, and I do recommend that we approve them as an outside sanctioning body for kickboxing.
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Manassas. I know you spent a lot of time and effort on this, trying to get this dialed in.
He was great.
Yeah, no, he's good. Time's hard to come by. I know he's very busy too. So. Thank you. I appreciate you pursuing this on their behalf. Commissioners, questions for Ms. Olding?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Olding, if you would, what type of events have you held in the past, or what type of events have you been part of in maybe other states or this state? Just trying to get a feel for what your experience is in sanctioning events.
We've had events in the past. I wasn't part of some of them, but quite large events. Matter of fact, and if we have one on standby, we're getting ready to do one in June. Just several events, and then of course I'm the new person on the block, but we've had several events. I have my team with me. They can actually comment on that if you need them to.
That'd be great.
And while they're coming up, if I can just add, so Miss Olding is acting on behalf of the IKF from California. So she is our Arizona liaison, but she will still have the support of the IKF headquarters. I believe she was going to have her associate come up.
I can tell about Ben, but you need to tell them about you did 5 years of Taekwondo in Illinois. You're part of the training.
Please introduce yourself and.
Okay. I'm Mr. Williams. I know I've been up here before, and I was the only IKF promoter in the state of Arizona, and we did it all legal-wise through all the different things. But we've done 2 world title fights. We brought in a team from Canada with the help of the Yapai tribe. We did a world fight there. Then we did a mud bog and a world title fight at a car dealership, and we brought in a kid from Costa Rica. My last event we did 3 years ago. We brought in the 2 12-year-old kids, the 2 best kids in the country, a kid from Texas fighting a kid from Arizona. So we're used to hosting events, and like I say, she's been part. I've been with her for 3 years. She's been a part of me, watching me train kids. She used to run the Elks Club where the other people were doing unsanctioned events, but she didn't know about it at that time, and I didn't know her at that time, but. So she's familiar how the events are run and stuff like that. She was my assistant trainer when we went to Florida with the World IKF World Tournament, which is 20 years old, going on 21 years old, and they sanctioned their own event, which is a worldwide event where fighters all over the world come. So she's got experience as well, and our team's got experience. Joe Joseph is 75 years into boxing. I'm 40 years into martial arts experience. We got the team. We got a world team in California. We got a state team here. We got retired firemen, retired highway patrolmen. We got a full team here. We're ready to serve the state of Arizona again.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Commissioner Pennington, answer your question? Other thoughts?
Yeah, it's close enough, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Peters, questions, thoughts?
No questions, thanks for following up, guys.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you, Commissioner. And again, Mr. Meneses, thank you. I know this has been a long time
I
coming.
have to say something. He,
Mhm.
Mr. Meneses, was outstanding, and Carlos, you guys really helped us get it together and put everything together. You were right there with us, get everything that we needed. I called, they were on the phone with me, emails back and forth the whole day. But I just want to thank you guys. You guys were amazing.
They're good. They're good, the two of them.
Thank
We're
you.
lucky to have them.
Believe me, I will keep them in my
Should
phone.
this come to pass, should this come to pass, there's going to be a lot more work. And you're going to
I see
have
that
to.
coming.
Yeah,
It's going to be all good to
especially
benefit.
early on. You're going to have to sort out what we need and how we want to see it done too. So
And I'm
just
not-
know that you'll need them on speed dial
I'm an
too.
anal person. I have to have everything organized and everything. So.
Good. So me too. So that'll be perfect.
We'll work perfect together.
Well,
Yes,
if
I
there
just,
are no further questions, is there a motion by chance?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant Sandra Olding, doing business as the International Kickboxing Federation, IKF, as an outside sanctioning body for the state of Arizona pursuant to ARS 5-222A4, 5-227, and 5-228, as well as AAC R19-2-C609 as a new outside sanctioning body.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are resilient, if
I'm
nothing
resilient.
else. We owe you a tank of gas or two, probably.
I was sitting back. We hit a lot of traffic.
So don't forget that your license is good until 12/31 of this year. And then next year you'll go through the same process of applying again, doing a renewal.
So
It'll be
when do
a
I
shortened
when do I
process.
do the new process.
The new process you'd want to go ahead and start around December, so that and come the January commission meeting, we can put you on that first agenda and you can start without a gap and delay in service.
Okay, so December, apply for what? Apply
For your renewal, just put renewal, yep. And then it'll it's a shortened process. Since this is the first time we're actually doing outside sanctioning body licenses, we have to come up with how we're going to shorten that process, but it'll be a little bit shorter than what you did this year.
Okay, so I filled out the same paperwork I did before, financials and everything.
We're gonna look at how to shorten that.
Okay, I appreciate it. And then now that we are approved, does the state need to be I guess notified of every event that we do?
Yes.
Okay. I just
Yeah,
wanna
so
make sure.
we should be getting a bout card with all your fighters on there with dates of birth and fighters, because we'll check the national suspension list. You won't have access to that, but we'll check it for you and reply back with any suspensions that are ongoing, as well as after your event, you will supply us with the results of every fight, as well as any suspensions, and we'll input those suspensions into the national database.
Okay, so before and after. And then how long before I have to notify you before the event?
So let's go through these afterwards, because there's just a couple
Please,
technical questions.
if you would stick around, I think it's important you spend some time.
Yeah,
with
because
him.
I want to ask you about those other things.
We want to make sure that your
Okay.
first event
Yeah,
goes
let's do that.
smoothly and it's appropriate and everything goes well.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Commissioner. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Item F is executive session. I don't know of a reason. Is there one for an executive session that I don't know about?
Not to my knowledge.
Doesn't sound like it.
I have no reason, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a very competent attorney if we need one.
We do. We do. Would you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Pat Irvin. I'm your temporary attorney while the Attorney General's office sorts out who will be your permanent assignment,
Very good.
which should happen soon.
Yes. We're pleased to have you here. And I know temporary sometimes becomes permanent too, so it'll be fun to have you back next time. So we'll see. We'll see. But thank you. You got an easy one, it looks like. No executive session, nothing so far.
And executive sessions are always optional. You generally go into them for personnel or legal advice, but you don't need any of that for this
I
meeting.
think today we're in good shape. Let's charge on to item G, summary of current events. It's time for the chair or any member of the commission or the executive director to give a brief summary on current events that affect the commission. It is informational only. Gentlemen, Mr. Meneses, something for the summary?
I don't have much other than what we've already talked about regarding the events that are upcoming and the events we've had. I've sent you guys, as well as you've seen the public information regarding the investigation that we led into unsanctioned events and the subjects of those. That case took a lot of investigative work from our police officers that we have here, and it was a very lengthy investigation. that we were able to partner with the county attorney's office on and move forward on, and that case has actually been fully charged and has a court date going forward. So that is one of our steps that we're going to continue to take to ensure that unsanctioned events and those that operate unsanctioned events are met with the legal consequences of those.
Terrific work. I mean, it's very important that the world understand we're going to push back. So,
absolutely.
I know it's a lot of time and effort, but I think it sends the right message to everybody out there. Commissioners, thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, I have already sent an email to Mr. Meneses commending him for the work that he did on it, but I am hoping that having done this with a very high-profile individual who, in our view, was holding unsanctioned events, we don't know what the courts will find. But I'm hoping that that information will get around to others so that we won't have this ongoing problem. It was a lot of work, and I really want to commend Mr. Meneses and all of the investigative staff that was used, the police officers and others, for the work they did on it.
Thank you, sir. And just to piggyback on that, the word is definitely out. This picked up a lot of media coverage, and we've already seen fighters and promoters talking about it. I've actually had comments from a fighter that said they were discouraged from participating in an unsanctioned event because they knew that we were cracking down on it, and the commission was taking a hardline stance on those involved. So the word is definitely out, and it's great for the sport to protect the integrity of the sport in the state of Arizona, as well as the safety and the health and safety of all the fighters involved.
That's terrific. We do live in a fairly closely knit, small community here, so when something like this gets out, it tends to travel fast. So I would expect that this is interesting news to everybody. It's easy to get it out there once it gets going.
Right.
Good thing. Commissioners, any other thoughts for the summary? There being none, let's go to H. Call the commission, which is somewhat redundant. Commission members wishing to ask questions or make comments must be recognized by the chair. Commissioners, any thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a comment to make, please.
Please.
The Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission last year went through an extensive process in trying to review the current state of legislation or the current state of the law regarding boxing and mixed martial arts and the things that we regulate. We need to pick that up again. Obviously, the legislative session is already well underway. But I think we need to be prepared for the 2020 legislative session. And so I'm asking that copies of the proposed legislation, and I think there were two versions, one that was big ball, as I call it, where we tried to really look at many issues going forward, and the other is what I call small ball, that would just really help us with the current state of the rules. So I would ask staff, if they could, to please send those out to the commissioners so that we can begin to review that and try to get our thoughts in order so that we can work with staff and legislative liaison and whomever else is necessary to see if we can move this forward going into the 2020 legislative session.
Thank you, Commissioner. Duly noted. If we're going to do something next year, yeah, getting the ball rolling would be a good thing.
And Mr. Fleming is working on that. He said he will, by the end of today, he will get that in your inbox.
That's terrific. Thank you.
And please thank him for us, Mr. Meneses.
Absolutely. Thank
We're
you.
Staring right at him. You have been thanked.
Oh,
He's hiding in the back of the room.
Yep. Perfect. Commissioner Peters, any thoughts?
None.
Okay.
You guys covered it.
Fair enough. Item I is the call to the public. Those members of the public wishing to address the commission must identify themselves and be recognized by the chair. We'd ask that you keep comments to 5 minutes. Anybody? Nobody. It's an easy one, isn't it? J is the announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. which leads us towards the possibility of adjournment, if there was a motion for such.
Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to move for adjournment, but before I do that, I would like to know if other commission members will be attending the event in Tucson this weekend.
Commissioner?
I will not, unfortunately. It's that we tell boy, so no little baby at home.
Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
How great is that?
Congratulations.
That is spectacular.
Hopefully we'll get Sorry, I missed that last comment.
Oh, I say we get all kind of new information whenever we divulge or divert from the agenda.
Yeah.
Now,
So, Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
well, I wanted to answer your question first, Commissioner.
You didn't want to hear from me.
Okay.
I'll be there. I'm bringing my mom, actually. That's Mother's Day the next day. I'm bringing my 80-year-old mother and stepfather to the fights, so that'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, please introduce us, please.
Absolutely.
Please.
Count on it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great event, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I will see you there. That'll be a fun one.
And Carlo and I will be there too, just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. We did have a motion for adjournment. Maybe we should address that. Is there a second for such?
I second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And we'll see you on Saturday.